Hi everybody, it's Linda. Welcome back to Tips for You. Well, do you have fine or limp hair? Is your hair flat, or maybe you're thinning, your hair is thinning, or you want to add some volume? Is your hair dry? And maybe you're just wondering like what's going on, maybe it's changed for you. Well, in this video, I want to talk to you about ionic hair dryers because I think you're going to find this very helpful if you want to boost your hair's volume and perhaps stop some of that dryness and damage. So recently I was in the market for a new hair dryer, and I noticed that everything on the market was ionic hair dryers. They're supposed to give you negative ions, and their claim is that it will eliminate frizz, make your hair shinier, reduce static electricity. And I was curious about what the science is behind it. And does this actually work, or is this just kind of a marketing thing to have everybody run out and get a new hair dryer? So let me make you understand a few things about ionic hair dryers so that you know how they operate. First of all, your hair when it's wet is positively charged. So what you're doing with an ionic hair dryer is you're blasting it with negative ions, which are supposed to be attracted to the positively charged ions in your hair. It's supposed to break them up into small particles and have them evaporate quickly. So these ionic hair dryers are supposed to dry your hair much faster. So what is a negative ion? Well, a negative ion is an atom that's negatively charged. It's like an oxygen molecule that's negatively charged, and there's also positively charged ones. They're always attracted to each other. So what an ionic hair dryer has is it has an ion emitter inside of it, which is basically these like stainless steel points. And when voltage is applied to these stainless steel points, they create a very strong electric field. That accelerates the electrons high enough that they collide with the air molecules and they ionize. So the reviews are mixed from customers. Many of them believe that their hair is less staticky and less frizzy and more sleek and shiny when they use it, and some people said they couldn't notice a difference. There's a lot that goes into whether or not it's going to be beneficial to you. Now, people who may benefit from ionic hair dryers are people who live in a very humid climate and have very thick or thick curly hair, very thick hair. They may benefit from it, but once you turn off that blow dryer, you are no longer getting negative ions, and now you're just going out into the regular atmosphere. So while you're using it and you're under the influence of those negative ions coming at your hair, you are, diminishing the static electricity and the frizz and all that, but it's temporary. And so because my area that I live in for half the year at least has lower humidity, then I'm not benefiting from an ionic hair dryer. In fact, maybe I'm making things worse because now it's zapping whatever little humidity I may have around me completely out of the atmosphere, and it's really flattening my hair. And that's what I've noticed. I noticed flatter hair, less volume, and a bit drier. What I found to be particularly problematic if you have thin, dry, color-treated, or damaged hair was that using ionic hair dryers too frequently can lead to long-term damage because negative ions are more reactive with your hair than other molecules are. So over time, they can cause oxidation of your hair's natural oils, and this can cause hair to become more brittle and prone to breakage. And I don't dry my hair bone dry, but some people do. And therein comes the possibility for damage because lots of times you are evaporating too much of the moisture and you don't realize when your hair is dry already, so you just keep on drying it. The combination of drying your hair with a hair dryer and a brush, a round brush, is also very damaging. So you kind of, in general, should limit the amount of blow drying that you do to your hair, which I've been trying to do. Because I want my hair to be healthier. Because when you have long hair, you really do have to be careful with it, and you have to treat it kindly. Otherwise it breaks and it doesn't stay long and it starts looking frayed, and eventually you have to cut it off and it's shorter. So over the years, I've maintained my long hair by being very gentle with it and very careful about how I treat it. I did buy a hairdryer, which I'll show you in a minute, that is not ionic. So if you're interested in hearing what my ionic hairdryer versus my non-ionic hairdryer sounds like, then let me turn them on for you and you're going to see the difference, because one does blow your hair quite stronger than the other. So here is on high. This is my ionic hairdryer. It's a Conair 1875. I love this hairdryer. I've been using it for quite a while. Now I'm going to show you the non-ionic hairdryer, also 1875. Now the only thing with it is basic. Nobody is making non-ionic hairdryers. So I will check my description box below, because I'll list this one for you. I got this in Walmart. I'll find a link for you so that you can check it out and see what it looks like. It's very basic, but it does have the cool shot button, which I'm going to talk to you about in a second. And it only has a high and a low and basically 2 heat settings, but not the way I can control them on my other hairdryer. So I wish it did have more, but I don't think there's a lot out there for us if we want a non-ionic hairdryer. And what I found was it did give me more volume to my hair. And I've been using it for a bit now, and I noticed my hair is not as dry, and it's not as flat, and it's not as, and it doesn't get greasy as fast because it's not as flat. So for me, my switch, I think, is a good one. For me, it works. I want to share it with you. There could be other people like me out there. You know, you're never the only one. So this is food for thought for you if you want to try this. Well, I compared both types of hair dryers, and I noticed no difference in drying time between an ionic hairdryer and a non-ionic hairdryer. Remember, my results are subject to my weather conditions, and yours may be different. My personal theory is that although the ionic hairdryer is supposed to dry hair faster, it ran at a slower speed, so the non-ionic hairdryer was able to compensate for that by running at a faster speed, which resulted in equal drying time. There are hairdryers on the market that you have a switch where you can turn the ions on and off. So if you're looking for a sleek style one day and you want everything to be very flat and shiny, then you can use the negative ions to do that. And if you don't and you want more volume on another hairstyle or on another day, then you can switch it off and you can not have the negative ion effect, and you can just have the regular blow dryer with generating, I guess, positive ions, which I think is a great feature. Those hair dryers are definitely more money. I will link them below too. You can take a look at some of them and see what you think. But now if you don't have time to run out and get yourself a non-ionic hair dryer, then here's a tip for you. What you can do is you can use your negative ion hair dryer, and you can just use the cool shot button to blow dry your hair. And I tried this as well before I was able to locate a non-ionic hair dryer. I was blow drying my hair with the cool shot button only. And what I found was my hair was so much thicker and fuller, and it looked healthier. But since I live in an area where the winter's coming, I'm not sure I always want to blow dry my hair with the cool shot button. So I started hunting to look for a non-ionic hairdryer, and I finally found one that was probably like $12 in Walmart. Now for this video, can you guess which hairdryer I used? I used the ionic hairdryer. I wanted to show you how flat my hair looks. And now I'm going to insert a picture where I used my non-ionic blow dryer. And you can see that there's a definite difference. What I do want to tell you is that what's more important than the type of hair dryer you use is that you use a heat protectant or leave-in conditioner on your hair, because that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to hydrating your hair, preventing frizz, and static. By the way, I want to mention these ionic hair dryers do give off ozone, so something that's not good for the atmosphere. I mean, I've even read things that said you should keep windows open. So that made me kind of think of beauty salons, where they're operating lots and lots of these hair dryers all the time. How good is the ventilation there? The ventilation bothers me in many beauty salons because they're using a lot of products and hairspray. I can't tolerate hairspray when it's in the air, and perms and things like that, and then you're using these hair dryers and just eating up all the oxygen. So it's something to consider if you're in the beauty industry. Ozone is formed when pollutants are emitted by the ionic generators. This contributes to ground ozone. It is bad for you. This is not to be confused with the stratospheric ozone, which is found in the atmosphere high above the Earth's surface, which is good and acts as a filter that absorbs the sun's UV rays. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. Please let me know in the comments below if you are going to experiment with getting a non-ionic hairdryer. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe because I have a lot more to come, something of interest to everyone. And please visit me at my blogspot where I do a lot of writing. And I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so we can stay connected there as well. Okay, well, thanks so much for viewing. Bye-bye now.